does what Microsoft said at GDC raise or lower your anticipation of Helix? Rudy?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, my first Xbox was the series. I'm not super like hyped for, what Xbox as a brand could do. Now, in terms of the hardware, like I'm kind of like right there with like Carrie with like what he said. This is an exciting time to have access to the same library in multiple places. This is why I love Steam, period. It's where you can take your game, your save file onto another device in a seamless way. And it's awesome. I am curious as to, how physical collectors will go into the swing of
Yes.
things and whatnot. Because there are a lot of people that have a huge collection of, Xbox 360, original Xbox. So I don't know how that's going to go. But in terms of like hypeness for me personally, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say like I'm an 8.527. That's about as hyped as I am, with 10 being really hyped and 0 being not hyped at all.
And where were you before GDC?
I would probably say I was like a 5. I was very neutral because
Okay.
I don't have any brand association or any sort of nostalgia, because there are a lot of people that are nostalgic with Xbox as a brand. You were talking to me about the Halo 3 launch and like how that was like an amazing thing. I had none of that. I was always a Nintendo and Sony guy, and I was like, you know what, I really should appreciate some of these older titles, and like started looking at emulation, and I started watching Russ's videos, and then I was I was like, wow, look at everything that you can do with emulation. And yeah, that's just how it is. I don't know. I'm excited with the possibilities. Let me put it like that, because as of right now, we don't know everything, but this really truly could be a game changer for the gaming and console space as a whole, because there are people that will look at this and see an Xbox, not a PC. And then there are people like us, they'll be like, that's a PC that can play Xbox games. So it really depends on how it hits the market.
Carrie, did this raise or lower your excitement for Helix?
So before Helix, we had been talking about so many times, and a lot of the things that we were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool and wouldn't it be great? So we've talked about it at length many times on this podcast and have been proven correct with just our like open speculation of like, wouldn't it be gee whiz neato?
See that, everybody? You're watching the right show. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was like I was indifferent like Rudy was, insofar as I was waiting for more confirmation of what was going to happen. We still don't like they teased with, hey, all of these Xbox games that you know and love, there's going to be new ways to play them. And I'm like, the only new way that's going to be playing is on PC. And Russ was like, PS5. And I was like, oh. And I was like, that would be a new way to play them. So in my head, it's still PC. And I have, in 2020, I thought that Xbox 360 emulation would have come into PC, and original Xbox emulation would have come officially to PC. Not play Xbox One, Xbox Series, but I thought 360 emulation was going to come. And then it didn't. And then years went by, and I was like, man, it's still not here. So now I feel like that feature alone, like Xbox Helix out of the way.
We'll talk about that feature soon.
Which one? The emulation one?
Emulation thing.
Right. So, I mean, like, but that alone is a 10 for me. Like, I'm super hyped for that because, like, I have Daytona USA and XBLA that I would love to play just from my official game and play in their official Xbox 360 emulator. I would love an easier way to get into those games, big time. I would love it, since they now own Activision and they can just talk to themselves about licensing. I would love it if Guitar Hero 2 and 3 was like, hey, backwards compatibility now supports all these Activision titles. Because they can just talk to them and it would just be like whatever license they need to do. But obviously music licenses would be a big hurdle, so those won't come. But I wish that those other Activision games could make it to backwards compatibility as well. That's another thing. So that already puts me at a 10. And then the other parts of GDC that a lot of people weren't following is like this whole Xbox Helix stuff. we learned about the GDK and we learned about everything else, but in the background, there's like DXR 1.2 and their SER, their shader engine reorganization.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's huge.
yeah, so there's big things there that technically there is no information in there, but it's like, again, this tease of like, here's this information. What are you going to do with it? And it's like, well, you just put this in my lap, so I have to assume that it means something. Like, you can't just say, here's all these old Xbox games and play them in new ways. Like, what am I supposed to think? I have to read between the lines. Likewise, for like DXR and SER, you have to read between the lines because that has not been applied to any AMD GPU ever. Like, not for RDNA 2, not for RDNA 3, not for RDNA 4. So it has to apply for RDNA 5. Why in the world would you talk about it at all unless it applied to RDNA 5 as well? And that has big implications because they also said, it's over 10x improvements in ray tracing performance over RDNA 2 to RDNA 5. And with SER, that can potentially even go even further. Like they are showing, like on a 5090, I think a 5090, path tracing was 2.3 times faster with shader engine reorganization. So you like looking at even bigger numbers of like, wow, path tracing and ray tracing is just going to fly on this box. So yeah, there's like lots of cool stuff of like this as a baseline box, especially for games getting built all the time with ray tracing as mandatory. This is going to be a direct answer to help everyone.
I think for me, I'm more excited now than I was before because it feels a little bit more real. Before, a lot of us were going on like rumors and obviously, as Carrie said a minute ago, speculation. And the idea, like, if this box is something that you can buy for $1,000 and has that kind of power behind it, I think that's the selling point of the box. And at that point, they don't have to say, you buy this box because of the games. You buy this box because you're getting the power to performance, the power to price ratio that you're spending
Right.
is really, really good. And so you buy that and then they throw those advertisements at you. So that's where I'm landing on this. I'm way more excited. The shader stuff that they're doing, I think, is exciting. The fact that, like, I'm thinking about doing a video about, I was wrong about ray tracing because I've been saying all this time, I keep pointing to Rich and I say, Rich, say the thing that you always say. And he says the thing, from the Sonic the Hedgehog meme. And I'm like, stop worrying about ray tracing. Stop worrying about ray tracing. And then I see Crimson Desert, and I'm like, I don't know. We'll talk about it later, but the Digital Foundry video about Crimson Desert, and I was like, holy God, that looks amazing. And it's also running really, really well, but that's beside the point. I'm starting to come around on ray tracing. So to see like that huge jump in ray tracing performance that they're promising with Helix, if all of this stuff pays off, I mean, I'm very bullish on Xbox, but if it flops, then they need to get out of hardware.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Russ,
Yeah.
last week you said Helix is still an unknown. Do you feel like you know more now? And has it changed your has what we saw at GDC changed your excitement level for Helix?
So, the question that you first asked was like, does it raise or lower my expectations or excitement for the Helix? And it's both. Like it's higher in some ways and much lower in others. So it's higher from a hardware perspective. I'm like, this thing is cool. Like all the stuff they're talking about in terms of everything we've just been discussing, what it can do and the power and the potential price for it. I can't imagine they're going to make the next Xbox $2,000 or whatever, right? It's probably going to be a fair price for what you're getting. That's all exciting. And like Carrie said, PS5, Xbox, every time there's a new console, you're like, this is this is more powerful than my PC, but it's always locked down to those games, And so the idea of opening it up and stuff is very cool. And it does make me excited. But if it has parity with your PC already, then it kind of deflates my excitement about it as well. It's like, well, if I already have a nice PC, then there's no reason to get the Xbox other than just like acknowledging the value that has at that price point. And if I'm in the market at that time to get it, then sure, that makes sense. But that's the other, that kind of feels like the death of the console as well, in the sense that you don't actually need this if you got a good PC. Like, as far as we can tell from the information, that was the other question you had, is do we know more about it? And I feel like I know less. Like, I do not understand what this Xbox can do. Like, yes, they say it'll play your Xbox console and PC games. What do you mean by console? What series are we talking about? Series, Xbox One, 360, like, where is this all coming from? And which ones are going to be emulated, which ones are not, and can I emulate those on a PC too? Like, at what point is there any exclusive benefit to the Xbox console, to the Helix, other than just the
Yes.
fact that it's a good price?
Yes, there is. The one thing that's like kind of between the lines, like, right, is because the GDK that they have now is like synonymous with, like, you do this for the GDK, the platform of your building to, it goes to Xbox and PC. They're effectively, one and the same. So at that point, you're like, well, then you're just building PC games, right? The one caveat with this is that Helix is a fixed platform. And when it's a fixed platform, you can target for Helix specifically. If you target for Helix specifically, that's the same idea of you buying GTA 6 on Xbox Series, and then you get the upgrade version for Xbox Helix. And then when you have fixed function hardware, you can do specific optimizations for fixed hardware that does not apply to open hardware. And then you're not making PC games, you're making a Helix specific build of that. And then that's the same thing of their smart delivery and all the other stuff. So if smart delivery can differentiate between, oh, this is just a regular PC build, just give them that, or hey, actually, we have a Helix version of this, we're going to give you that. So there will in fact be Xbox Helix console versions of games. It'll matter a bit less than PC games, but 100% they will be able to, if in the eventuality that, I don't think this will happen, but if in the eventuality people are like, say, hey, actually, why am I going to get a PlayStation? They've not been making a bunch of exclusives. The exclusives that they have been making, I don't really care about. And I'd rather have the openness of PC and all those PC games that are exclusive actually more. Let's say that hypothetical, which is largely not going to happen, actually happens. And then Xbox Helix is they sell 100 million consoles. Now, all of a sudden, they're in a space where developers are like, oh, crap, we actually should make optimized versions of Helix games. And now you are getting for-fact Helix versions that are optimized for the Xbox Helix, while they can still export to PC as well. And then you have the graphic settings and everything else. But like, when you do that, like, especially with SER, and then you also think about like RDNA 5, there was an article that someone wrote in Japan, and they talked about the kernel logs from the Steam Deck Van Gogh before it was even out. This was January of 2021 that those kernel logs came out. It was like, oh, here's Van Gogh, and it was like all this information about it. So they did another thing on RDNA 5, and they were talking about RDNA 5 fixes a lot of things with their dual ALU shader stuff. Remember the flopflation nonsense that happened with the PS5 Pro?
No.
Everyone was like, oh, it's going to be 33 teraflops.
Oh,
yeah. And then Cerny was like, actually, it's 16.7 because of how it works out. Compute-wise, how the engine works on RDNA 3, it was double wide, but it can only do one at a time. So effectively, it's half. You basically had RDNA 2 with this fake stuff. RDNA 5 now actually sorts that stuff out. So now you can actually double pump. So that means that the teraflop number that can be its peak FP32 teraflop number is actually closer to true than being completely false. So now you have all of these things that, like, if you were to look at this through the narrow lens of optimizing for the Xbox Helix, you can optimize that specific path for the GPU for Xbox Helix, because you're not going to be doing that on PC. You wouldn't be optimizing when you have NVIDIA cards mostly. You would do that for Xbox Helix.
I'm wondering if you buy, we'll just pick a game. We'll say, no, not GTA, some other, we'll just buy, Halo,
Just
whatever.
Crimson Desert.
Yeah, Crimson Desert, sure. Well, I'm hoping for something like in the future, but you buy this game, and there's, you could buy the Steam version to play on Project Helix, or you can buy the Helix version to play on Project Helix. Carrie, you're saying that the Helix version might actually run better.
Yes, if they optimize. If they optimize for that, Correct.
That's annoying.
That is,
I mean, it's good, but it's also annoying.
It makes sense.
right.
But
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah,
sense.
but also in the sense of the Xbox Play Everywhere is going to be there, Play Anywhere or whatever. If you do buy the Helix version of Halo 7, for example, then yes, potentially you would also be able to play that on PC, right? Like say you've
Yes.
got a home PC, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. So I see that. I'm not sold on this idea of the optimization being the one exclusive that the Helix has that would make me want to buy it personally.
Exactly. Also, I would like to firmly press on the brakes that this whole hypothetical that I put out there pretty much requires them to dominate the next console generation. And
Right.
I think we should be very, very honest with ourselves when that likelihood is not going to happen.
I feel like
so this whole eventuality, I don't think is going to happen.
I feel like the
largely,
last
right?
5 minutes of this podcast, Carrie's in the driver's seat and he's just driving really, really fast, and we're all like, "There's a cliff ahead of us, Carrie." And then he's
Where are we
just
going?
like, slams on the brakes, and like we all end
Oh,
up in the
man.
front seat, like in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I am
Yeah,
gonna
so
say though, like, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to put it together for me, I am excited about the hardware, but I am less excited about the software and just how Helix works and everything. Just because I need more information. I need them to really sell it to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ahead, Rudy.
like I was gonna say that the hardware premise is probably the most enticing, and Carrie, you mentioned this has to be successful, and it almost seems like they are obviously targeting the Xbox crowd that is already there, but they definitely want to entice people that are in the PC space, that know what they're talking about, that are aware of what's happening in the hardware space. And who knows? I mean, if the value is there and this thing, is a $2,500 rig, being sold at $999, it
Yeah.
might sell some people over.
Yeah. For me, on like the PC side, I see a lot of like people that are like, "Oh, that's actually pretty awesome." When they're like normally didn't care about anything Xbox did because they played on PC, but they're also just tech heads. So they were just like, they were just gadget freaks. They just want toys.
I feel like I'm not sure if it was Russ or Rudy that just said this, but like I think it was Russ just said like he's not interested in the software, he's interested in the hardware. And that made me think of back when the Xbox Ally X was coming out. All of us were like, this is a complete 180 from then, because we were all like, I'm interested in the Xbox Ally X because of the software, because we wanted to see what Microsoft was going to do with the Xbox full screen experience, not the hardware. And now we've completely done a 180. Maybe we'll do one more 180 and that'll be a 360, and there's your Xbox meme right there. This was just a small part of my podcast, the Nerd Nest podcast. And if you enjoyed it, then do me a favor and click on that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, then I think you should check out the link in the description down below the like button. It's going to take you to the full podcast so you can check out the entire conversation and a whole lot more. If that sounds good, I hope to see you over there. Stay rad, and thanks for watching.